and go to Accommodations. So I want you to read through those questions. Again, some of you might have seen them before. If you did, then think about, okay, you're a little bit further on than last time we met. How many of those can you answer? Okay, so read through the question and think to yourself, could I get the answer to that question maybe, let me say, within the next 10 minutes? You could make a phone call to somebody in your office and get the answer to that question. Okay? Read through them all and see how many of them you could answer. Okay, so 7 questions. Hands up, all those people that could, within a 10-minute phone call, give me the answer to all 7 questions. The point of this exercise is this. I want to point you to, where did I write it? Okay, here we go. Practice what you preach. If you are going to be a sustainable business, and some of you might have come to the training thinking, actually, we are already quite sustainable. Well, if you can't answer those, think again. You are sustainable where you have chosen to be sustainable. That doesn't make you a sustainable business. You need to be trying to tackle as much of it as possible. It's balancing all of these things, and you've got to get to the bottom of those. And particularly if you're going to become the champion in your business, you should know these. So when somebody asks you, you can say, yes, it's that, it's this, it's this, it's this. I know them because these are important, because it's the evidence I need to prove that I'm a sustainable business. This is a set of slides, just 3, that I use when I'm training hotels. And it results from a pilot study that we did when we created Travelife for hotels. We went to 3 hotels, one in Turkey, one in Rhodes and one in Cyprus. And we conducted a full audit against the Travelife criteria, and we gave them a list of all of the recommendations that arose out of that audit. Things that they could do that would make them become more sustainable. And there were about 84 different suggestions for improvement in that hotel. 115 of those recommendations focused on just those 3 things. So there were lots of ways in which they could do better. Okay? Lots of actions. Some of those actions I would call quick wins, because you could pretty much implement them within the next couple of days, and they wouldn't cost. Some of those things needed a little bit more thought and maybe a little bit more investment, so a little bit longer to sort out. Okay? But the key then was for them to sort of prioritise those actions. This is what they achieved in the first 12 months. That hotel reduced its water consumption by 35%. More than 1/3 of the water bill now being saved in the piggy bank. And we actually convinced them to do this. They've got a budget for the year for water, and the money that was left over at the end of the year, we asked them to put it into a separate bank account. They actually opened a bank account for sustainability. Okay, big step, I know, but as a pilot exercise, this was really good for us because we could see what was achieved. So the money went into that bank account. 70% of the water was saved just on irrigating the gardens. And that's because they were doing it between 7 and 9 o'clock in the evening. That's where that example came from. So 70% of the water that was put on the ground at that time of day needn't have been put on the ground at all, because the plants could survive just with 30% of what was being delivered if it was done at the right time. 1/3 of their energy bill went into the piggy bank. in 12 months. And they reduced a lot of waste. They had a big area out the back of the hotel. Actually, it was completely uncontrolled. It looked a complete mess and an eyesore. And they really organised it, and they had very little, actually, compared to what they originally had in terms of waste. And this is what they saved, not from all 115, but just on the 30 most quantifiable things. I mean, we looked at what went into the piggy bank and we tried to find out where it had come from. And the bulk of it had come from 30 things, and it amounted to 150,000 euros. That's a lot, isn't it? That's a lot of money. So actually, it is a very good profitability tool, sustainability, if you organise it and you do it in the right way. And this isn't hypothetical, this is a result, this is what happened. Just look at 6 of the things. These were the top 6 things that they had to do in the hotel. Reduce the amount of water coming out of showers, repair leaking toilets. 50% of their toilets leaked. 50%. Why? Because nobody had taken responsibility for monitoring leaking toilets. It should be housekeeping's responsibility. They're there cleaning them. So if they saw a toilet leaking, what did they do? Nothing. They just closed the lid and carried on. Ridiculous. Outside lights were on from 7 PM until 7 AM in the morning, lighting up the gardens and the outside of the building. Fantastic if you're out and around the hotel at 3 AM in the morning, which most people are not because they're fast asleep in bed. So again, a lot of energy being wasted there. Towels. We shall return to this tomorrow when I give you the results of my own test in the Palace Hotel. Huge amount of clean towels in lots of hotels goes to the laundry. Clean towels, can you imagine it? Washing clean towels again and again and again. I mean, how clean do you need a towel? What else we got? Oh, backwashing of pool filters. That hotel had got 5 swimming pools, and every swimming pool in hotels has to be maintained and kept clean. And the way that they do this is, commonly in hotels, is to pass the water through a big barrel, about that big in this hotel anyway, they were this big, there were 8 of them, servicing 5 swimming pools. And it contains sand, and the water goes through the sand, and the sand filters out all the dirt and particles as it passes through, and when it gets to the bottom it comes out clean and it's recirculated into the pool, and that's the pool filter. However, the sand starts to get dirty because it gets clogged up with all of the particles and hair and swimming costumes and everything else that gets brought into it. I'm joking. I'm just seeing if you're awake. Okay? Remember these? Very effective, these. So, you have to clean them regularly. And the way to do that is to send water around the wrong way to flush out all the dirt, and that water is no good for anything other than watering the gardens or maybe flushing toilets. So it's waste water. It's either grey water or waste water. So the more of that you produce, the more you've got to replace in the pool because the level's got to stay the same. Okay? This hotel had not trained its pool engineers in how to do this. So every day at 11 o'clock they turned the backwash on, and an hour later they came and turned it off. An hour. The recommended backwash time for one of these filters is 2 minutes. Can you imagine the volume of water going through that filter just out to the waste? Was hundreds and thousands of litres every day, unnecessarily. And just because they weren't trained properly. For those 6 things, look at that. It cost €8,000 to put all that right, but the saving in 12 months was €78,000. So that's €70,000 net profit on an 8,000 investment. That's 900% return on your investment. Isn't that fantastic? How much do you get in the bank? 3? You certainly don't get that. So, it works for you as well. Whatever you invest in sustainability, provided you do it the right way, you will always get a better return on that expenditure than you will ever get by trying to put it into any other scheme to make more money. Sustainability is a multiplier of profit if you do it in the right way. And that's not just in financial terms, but in human terms as well. Of course, in addition to all of those things, because you're doing things properly in a hotel, then that also happens as a consequence. So it's a win-win for the hotel. These are some of the certification schemes and labels that exist in Europe. There are much more than 40. There's now around about 67 or 68 labels. They're constantly growing, okay? This again, remember what I said before about not reinventing the wheel? I just don't get it, really. Why you keep having to have new ones all the time. The problem for customers, consumers, people going on holiday and staying in hotels is, what is the difference between this and this, or this and this? Because actually, none of them are the same. They're all different. This one looks at different criteria to this one down here, and none of them look at the same criteria as... they're all different, so it's a problem. And one of the things that we did when we first started working on Travelife was to try and find a solution to that. And the idea behind Travelife was to try and create this umbrella. So we could say, okay, well, if a hotel's working with that, has it satisfied the Travelife criteria, yes or no? It's part way there, so we'd have to do an additional Travelife audit. Not a full one, just the bits that are missing from that. If it's working with this, then does that comply? Yes, no. Yes, that does. Okay, then that's also Travelife compliant. That was the original idea behind Travelife. It's still there. It's had some challenges going forwards because of the global sustainable tourism criteria, but I'll talk about that tomorrow. That's what the Travelife collection looks like when you've put in some of your filters. So this is a filter for Egypt, and it's brought up 3 hotels that are Gold Award. When you click on those, you can actually find out the names of the tour operators that sell stays in that hotel. And you click on the tour operator and it takes you directly to the booking engine of that tour operator for a stay in that hotel. The reason it does that is because it's owned, Travelife for Hotels, by APTA, a tour operator and travel agent association. And therefore, we have to make it work through those members. We don't give an opportunity for that hotel to take direct bookings. That's not what a trade association for tour operators is about.